to a noisy video. I have close this up here because it is noisy, and that depth founder keeps beeping. I don't know why. Anyways, finally got the engine working, and it's been a frustrating procedure. And let me tell you that I was about to quit because, and I usually don't. The thing was that I don't know if I mentioned in another video, the mechanic that was supposed to put the engine back in did show up to install it to the tranny and attached it to the gunnels, but he never returned to put it all back together and get it running, get it timed, etc. So I went and started doing it myself with a bad arm. I can't really do a lot of heavy lifting, but anyways, I got a friend that he helped me put it together, a young kid, 25 or so. He moved to Florida now, and he's gonna come back and visit, but we put it all together, but for some reason the engine would not start. And I would check the firing order, left engine firing order, and it kept not firing. It didn't work. It didn't start. So I didn't know what else to do. So I told a friend of mine. A friend of mine says, I know this mechanic that, hang on a sec, let me turn that beeper off. Okay, so I turned one engine off because it was just too loud. I needed to warm it up. What I'm doing right now is I'm breaking in the engine. Today we did several things, and we got it running. But let me start from the beginning so you have a better idea. And I have some information for people that might have the same problem, and the solution is so simple, but it's ridiculous that it's not mentioned in my manual book, the engine manuals. Anyways, so couldn't get the engine running. It had fuel. I checked the lines, I checked the filters, filled up the filters again. It will sputter and it will give me backfiring, and it will not run. So I mentioned it to a friend of mine. He says, I need a mechanic that he can get that engine started in no time at all. And I said, okay, bring him over. So we picked on a day. He came over. He spent 2 hours, checked the wires, bought a new distributor cap, bought a new rotor. The rotor was kind of bad. Bought a new rotor, checked the wires and checked the spark plugs. Everything was fine. We double checked the firing order according to the book. He spent 2 hours, couldn't get it running. Then he started saying, I think there's something with the gears. And I said, the gears? You know, because it doesn't have a timing chain. It has locking. It's got gears in the front. Because timing chain on a boat, you know, could break. So anyways, gears. And I said, well, listen, to look into that, I will have to remove the engine, send it back to the shop. It's going to be expensive. $600 just to take it in and take it out and put it back in. And then whatever the shop's going to charge, or if it's not going to charge. Anyways, he got frustrated, and he says, I can't do anything else. I don't know what else to do. So he left, and I didn't even pay him, but I have to get in touch with him to pay him for his time, because he really tried. And I kept saying, these are the numbers according to the book. Left turning engine. We double checked on the engine. Every time you crank it, it's turning to the left, but it wouldn't start. So I was getting doubts. I was having doubts on the work that the shop did putting it together. I said, they did something wrong here. So the next day, I come down to the boat, and there's a few boats down. There's a guy working on an engine. And he asked me, "Did you get it done? You get it running?" I said, "No, it won't start." And we checked everything, and explained everything we did. We double checked the firing order and everything else. And then he asked me this question. And he said, "What is the firing order?" And I said, "Well, it's 184, etc., etc." And he says, and it's a left turning. It says in the book, left turning. These are the numbers. Because the right turning engine is 172, etc., etc. And the 8 is at the end. And he asked me, "Do you have a V drive?" And I said, "Yeah, they're velvet, He goes, "That engine is turning, which way are you looking at the engine?" And I said, "Well, like when you look at the engine, you stand in the front where the pulleys are and the water pump and radiator and everything in the front." He goes, "Not on a V drive. You got to look at it from the end of the engine towards the back. And then you look to see which way it's turning." I said, "Oh my God." So the left turning engine is actually turning to the right when you're looking at it from the back of in other words, from this spot, you're looking towards the engine. You see the engine cranking to the right, not to the left. And I'm going, "Are you kidding me?" He goes, "Yeah." So he got up, and I'm glad he helped me, because I gave him a couple of new oil filters that they wouldn't fit my boat, and I just gave it to him. Anyways, he came over. We opened up the hatch, and I said, "Let me open up." He goes, No, you don't need to open up the rest." He just sat there on the edge, and he just went click, 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 and on the rotor, he just changed the position of the wires. And we already marked the wires with a marker. So number 4 had 4 dots. Number 7, it had 7 dots, etc. So he repositioned it, and he goes, "Okay, go and start the crank it." I went up to the bridge. Boom! The freaking engine starts, and I'm going, "Are you kidding me? You mean we're doing this shit the wrong way?" Because it doesn't say in the book that on a V drive you gotta look at the engine from the opposite side, not from the front, but from the back where the distributor. I'm going, Jesus Christ. So this guy saved me. Well, I already had the headaches. I had a bunch of headaches. We couldn't figure it out. We put the engine almost a month ago, and we couldn't get this thing running. And finally, the engine is running. Listen to it. So now, it was running kind of rough, but it would run all the time. I would start it, it would run. It was off timing. So then, I had another issue. The water pump wasn't pumping, and I checked the impeller. In fact, I even ordered a new impeller, and I changed the water pump to a smaller pump that I had, a 350, but that one was leaking, so I took it off again and put the other one back on, which is a 454 pump, and then we put the bigger impeller in there and everything, and it wasn't pumping. There was no water coming into the engine. The engine would run for a minute, and it would get hot. Not too hot, but I would stop it right away. I don't want to mess up the engine. Well, it turns out that if you copy the other engine, the position of the hoses is reverse on this engine. So the intake water coming from the ocean, I had it on the bottom, and the one for the heat exchanger goes on the top, right? Well, I had that also in reverse. We inverted the engine, the hoses. So we put the intake on top, the other one on the bottom. Now we get water. So the pump is pumping. So now it's pumping so much water that it's so much suction that the hose is collapsing, because they had a soft hose, and this is the hose right here, and look how soft it is. So the suction will do this to the hose, so it just collapses like that, and it wasn't getting enough water. And I said, okay, no problem. I went to West Marine and bought a 1 1/4 inch hose with the wire in it and thicker walls. This is kind of weak. So is this other one. I'm gonna throw them away because I don't even know what this one goes. But this is really, look at this thing. Look at the thickness of the walls. They're thin. There's no wiring. I don't know. I found this in the locker, and I asked my friend, and he goes, I don't know where that comes from, but throw it away. So I'm gonna chuck them. So now we got the pump pumping the right amount of water. So we did a cleaning on the bilge. There was a bilge pump wasn't working. We took it out, cleaned it. There was a lot of crap under there. Took it all out, soaped it up, everything, and now we're ready for another paint, bilge paint. So then I said to my friend, listen, he was getting ready to go. I said, listen, I got the timing gun over here. Let's get it on time, because I was gonna bring the mechanic that I had here for 2 hours. I haven't paid him anything. I'm gonna pay him because he put 2 hours of his time. He just didn't figure it out because of the numbers were wrong. But I have the timing gun, so I said, let's put the timing gun and let's put the engine on time. So we did. He adjusted the carburetor a little bit, and now it's running smooth. It's tight. It has to loosen up. So I'm gonna run it for about an hour, and then turn it off, let it cool. And I was gonna run it for another hour, but I gotta go home because I got a lot of stuff to do at home. So the boat project, as far as the engine is concerned, it's done. We got it on time. We tightened up the distributor. So if you have a left thinking that it's a left rotating engine, it's actually a right rotating engine, and the number is the 172 number, not the 184. This guy that he's been working on boats for a long time, he told me, he doesn't like to admit that he doesn't know, but he just kind of looked like okay, let me think about that. And I said, you see, you didn't even know either, and you've been doing this for years. And he said, no, we did it, but the carburetor was bad, and da-da-da. I said, no, it wasn't carburetor. Carburetor is new, by the way, $400. So the engine, being that I had it at the wrong setting, no wonder it didn't. It was backfiring. I said, what's going on? We keep putting fuel in the carburetor, and it wasn't doing it. So I got the book, and in red ink I put right engine left engine right, turns right, because if you look at it from here, the left turning engine is the one on the left side of the boat. If you look at it from the rear to the forward, that will be the left side of the boat. And oh man, I'm telling you, and I call a few mechanics and nobody told me diddly. Nobody told me diddly. I mean, it's like you have to find out stuff by yourself on your own. This guy, I told him, dude, I owe you a dinner. You want to go for drinks? I'll take you to a restaurant. You know, let's have a few beers. Let's go have some food. You know, he go, no, it's okay, it's all right. You know, no problem. But still, I'm gonna bring him something. Oh, another thing that happened to him was that he just got these new engines from Summit, rebuilt. One of the engines overheated and it cracked the head, and he couldn't figure it out why. Well, when he took it apart, it turns out that on that engine, on the starboard engine, the gasket that they put on the heads was for a smaller block. It might have been a 327 or who knows what. It was for a smaller block. It overheated because it wasn't sealing right. It overheated and it cracked the head. So I think Summit's going to take care of him. It's going to give him either some money, or they're going to give him the heads, or, but no, he already got the heads. He's got new heads on him. He just got to finish up putting in the intake manifold. So this is, see what happens on a boat. Even if it's a new thing, anything can happen, because those engines, they're newly rebuilt. He bought them from Summit. They shipped it. They dropped them in there, connected everything, and then the engine overheated and it cracked the head because it wasn't circulating right. He told me also that he thought it might have been that it sucked up a bag that it choked the intake, but you know, no. When he opened it up and he saw the gasket, it was the wrong size. He goes, "That's what did it. That's what did it." So he's getting it finished. He's getting it working. So another thing I want to do. We filled up the water in the bilge because the pump had. You know how the bilge get, you know, oily or greasy or, you know, just dirty with crap. There's a lot of dirt that flies in from the street. I'm gonna see if I can have a cover built so it can cover the back and protect it, because it's always dirty with dirt, crap from the palm trees. So we filled it up, we got the pumps running, and they're pouring out tons of water. So I have an extra hose, another through hole on the side that I want to connect another pump. So I'm going to go to West Marine and buy me the little red pump that is an automatic, so I can have two of those, which those little ones put out a lot of water. I mean, like that, solid, coming out the side. I want to hook it up to the side too, so I have 3 pumps, and I have them on the switch or on the float, either way. If there's any debris that gets stuck on the float, which the float was also bad, I replaced that. I had on the float here, so we have a new float. If it gets caught with whatever, fishing line, whatever, you know, and it is not working, you can hit it with the switch and still make it pump. So that's the thing. So finally we got the boat running. Now I can start calling my friends and going fishing. Every time I meet them, "Hey, where are you gonna go fishing? Is the boat ready? Is the boat ready?" I said, "Dude, I'm doing everything by myself." Hello. Mechanic took a dump and left and never answered my calls or the texts and everything. I don't know what happened with the guy, and I really, you know, if he doesn't want to call me, I don't care. I have to finish it myself. At least I got something, you know, done. So now I'm gonna clean up, and in about I think I want to go right now. I could leave the engines running, and I'm gonna go right now and see if I can get the little pump and bring it down here so my friend can install it. Oh, wait a minute. Look what I found. Wait a minute, I forgot I had this sucker here. Look, brand new. 1500 rule. I'm gonna tell him to hook this one up. I almost forgot. Yeah, that's a good pump. I'm gonna tell him to hook it up, and I don't have to buy the other one. I like the other one because it has a little, what do you call it? A timer. I have one under here too, on the floor. So it has a timer, and every 2.5 minutes it goes. If it doesn't pick up any water, it shuts down. If it picks up water, it means to start pumping it out. So I like those little pumps. And they suck from very low. This one, yeah, this one, it spins, and whatever's inside that level here, it'll spit it out. But if it's way down here, it won't. So there's always water. You know, a boat always has water in it. You know, my friend got a little paranoid. "All right, well, what do you have water in the hole?" And I said, "Dude, all the boats make water, and they have water, and when the shaft is turning, the shaft has to get cool with ocean water, and it drips into the bilge." And I said, "That's normal. Don't be alarmed." "Oh, do you have pumps?" I said, "Yeah, I got pumps. Don't worry about it." And do you have a raft? And I said, "Yeah, I got a." I said, "Dude, it's not, you know, we got emergency stuff. We got emergency stuff." All right. At least I got good news about that, because I was like, what happened with the engine? So it's running. I gotta take a few things to the car, start cleaning up this mess. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next one, and let's see if I can start doing some testing. I'm gonna drive around, not today, but maybe Sunday. I'll drive around a little bit and put it in gear and do that kind of braking. You gotta go slow, gotta warm up the engine, let it, you know, expand and do its thing, because everything is tight. And I gotta do the same thing on the truck. I already got the truck back. I gotta make a video about that. All right, guys. See you on the next one.